Boris Kalmykov, CEO and co-founder of Hype Masters. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm a big fan,
Okay.
and I've learned so much by listening to you guys, and entertained every week.
Well, thank you. Now it's my time to learn from you. So, who are you and what are you doing here? Because we're in Abu Dhabi.
I'm a founder who has decided to relocate to Abu Dhabi and to have my offices based here, but not just any offices. The whole of the leadership team is here, the whole executive team is here, as well as a few developers. So what we do here is we develop games, and we do it out of Abu Dhabi, which we are very proud of.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The reason why I'm here is actually because of you. So, like, it's like almost like not even a butterfly effect. There's some direct correlations because I met you in Istanbul and
Yeah.
Think Istanbul event.
Yeah.
And you were like, hey man, like yourself and this and that. And you're like, I'm in Abu Dhabi. I'm like, in Abu Dhabi? Like, what are you doing there? And then you explained to me like all the things that's happening in your life. And then I started following you on Instagram.
Oh.
You know, you have this Iron Man shirt and everything. So you're clearly doing a lot of sports. I'm like, your life doesn't look that bad. Let me look into this Abu Dhabi thing. And you know, got to know people here, connections, and we're recording this just after Google Move event that happened here in Abu Dhabi. So my voice is kind of gone after a couple of days. But you know, thanks to you, I'm here, and this office space where we're right now, Creative Hub in Abu Dhabi on a Yas Island, looks amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what they've built here for the community.
Yeah, so this is a podcasting studio here in Creative Hub. We're walking through, and like, of course, I'm getting impressed because all the chairs and all the screens and all the headphones that are placed are Razer. I'm like, okay, you guys, so like,
It's a serious place.
Yeah.
Well, we do serious business here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it's a really cool city. But let's talk a little bit more of your company.
Sure. So Hype Masters was established in 2019. I've been living in London for 20 years before moving to Abu Dhabi, so I established it there, but also we had a development office in St. Petersburg in Russia. We bootstrapped the company with my co-founder, who is a very talented developer. Unlike me, I'm a business guy. I worked at Facebook and Unity and Goldman Sachs before, starting my own gaming studio. But my co-founder is an actual developer. He's from St. Petersburg himself. We've decided to do casual games, very different from what he was doing. He was doing back then mid-core, but after doing a few attempts on hyper-casual, we've decided that it's not a thing that I want to do. It absolutely wasn't hitting home with me in terms of like what it requires. It requires a lot of prototyping, it requires a lot of testing, and we were mildly successful with a couple of games, but I just didn't like the burnout of the team that gets after trying this mechanic, and so many of them don't work. I thought that I wanted to create a business that's a lot more sustainable and can be there for years and fun for me to manage and to grow. After a bit of thinking and after a bit of market research, we've decided to settle on bringing real-time strategy to mobile. Actually bringing real-time strategy to free-to-play because as of this year, we are also released on Steam, on PC.
Nice.
We've gone through like a major revamp of graphics and gameplay to actually adapt to the Steam platform. It's been 4 years since we've started developing World War Armies. We released it 2 years after, first lines of code. It was really bare minimum. It was just core gameplay, a bit of monetization. But as of today, the game is quite rich. It has a lot of live ops. We're growing it in marketing spend. We're growing it in revenue every month. I'm pretty happy, to be honest with you, especially after moving to Abu Dhabi. I found a new home and I found a new space, a new challenge in triathlon. And that's me and my company in a nutshell.
So let's talk a little bit, like you spent 20 years in London. What motivated this decision to relocate from London to Abu Dhabi?
There were a few events motivating me to actually establish a studio in Abu Dhabi. So firstly, a tragic event of 2022 February. As we all know, the war started between Russia and Ukraine. And having an office in St. Petersburg was not feasible any longer for us. We are an international company with international staff, so we had to shut down the office. But what's more is that since COVID, I had all my employees remote pretty much. And honestly, I hated it. I'm an office person. I like going and seeing people face to face. I believe in creative collaboration in an office space. And for me, it has always been this thing like, yes, I had to grow the team remotely, but I really wanted to have a home. And until we moved to Abu Dhabi, we didn't have that home. So in 2022, I had to make a few choices, right? So what I could have done is like relocate a few executives to London and then have like create a studio somewhere else.
Armenia or Georgia.
Armenia or Georgia, like a lot of the companies did.
Yeah.
But for me, I thought it was a great opportunity to actually be with my people, with developers as well, not just hide away in some forest in the UK. It was so amazing to see that Abu Dhabi was doing something in gaming. Back then, it was still like very, very early days, I'd say. Like we were the one of the first movers. I'd say Audio Mob was the first one.
Yeah.
The guys, like I've met them, and they struggled a little bit because they were the first ones, so they took all the punches. And I just came in on the fertile grounds, you know? And for me, I was like, okay, so here's the thing. This place has high living standards, amazing to live in, really good for families. This place is trying to grow gaming, and I actually can be part of a journey where something new is truly growing.
Bigger.
Part of something bigger, part of a community, and part of the early influence. You know, you don't have that chance anywhere in the world right now. If you are in the UK, you have all these developers who are 50, 60-year-olds. You know, they've established rock stars, code masters. It's an established community. For a guy like me, like in his early 30s, to break through and, you know, to really push something, oh come on, it's impossible. It's like trying to break into British aristocracy when you're a Russian guy. So it's impossible. Here, so I am one of the early studios. I can really shape this place to be in the way that I think is the best for this country, for its community, for its people, learning from all around the world, from practices in the UK, in Canada, Finland, Turkey, all the programs, so it can combine the best and truly be, you know, this rocket ship that takes off in the next decade and be part of that, but in a new place. So that's how I looked at it. I looked at it as a place where I can settle for decades and be part of this founding community and, you know, have my business grow with it, essentially. So that was, I think, like, you know, as well as neutrality of the country, which accepts Russian people, accepts Ukrainian, Belarusian, anyone. It's a Switzerland of our modern day. It doesn't take sides. It is absolutely neutral and welcoming. And that is that's the third part. High living standards, yes. A gaming community, yes. But also its neutrality, its acceptance, and its culture of welcoming people. It's amazing. Unparalleled.
I've been coming to UAE since 2010. This is like Singapore.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, like it's a very rule-based society. Like you break the rules, you're out. That's it. So and if you play by the rules, it doesn't care where you come from, who you are.
Absolutely.
But you play by the rules.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of it. You know, like I can let my kid play outside without having second thoughts.
Game devs. Here at Heroic Labs, we know that great gameplay is what players love, but integrating metagame features like challenges, progression, and rewards is crucial for retention and monetization. But coding them is a tedious and time-consuming process. That's why top studios have turned to Hero from Heroic Labs. Hero provides a complete suite of battle-tested metagame features that are quick to implement, letting you spend more time on the core gameplay experience. Ready to ship fully featured, engaging games? Check out Hero today at heroiclabs.com.
I wanted to talk about two different things. Actually, let's rewind back. How did you hear about Abu Dhabi? Because when you told me about Abu Dhabi, I'm like, what are you talking about? And by that time, I've been to Dubai, you know, multiple times, and it never really even crossed my mind to go to Abu Dhabi.
You know, funny enough, until June 2022, I thought Abu Dhabi was just like, you know, a village. I really had zero idea. I had zero idea, honestly. And thankfully, we have a great investor, Gem Capital. They have invited James Hart, who was leading AD Gaming back then, to give a talk about what Abu Dhabi is and what Abu Dhabi Games can offer. And, you know, we basically had maybe 10 to 12 companies on this call, all companies of Gem Capital, the ones that they've invested in. And Yeah, I thought, okay, so James is a British guy, so something relatable there. Sounded very interesting. And basically, the next week I flew in. I was like, dude, I have to see it with my own
Yeah, of
eyes
course.
because, like this sounds too good to be true. I flew in, stayed in the hotel where we had the Move Google.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
and I
right.
was impressed. Like, I
Oh,
was
you,
like, F1 track?
you stayed
Really?
at W?
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
that's okay.
It was $100 per night, man. Like literally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in some that was summer. Remember,
Yeah,
summer in Abu Dhabi, no one is here.
57 plus 57
Yeah,
Celsius.
not 57 plus 40, 45.
57. Yeah, go on.
So yeah, I was like, wow, this looks really developed. This actually looks much better than Dubai because I know I've been to Dubai many times and Dubai is absolutely crowded. You have so much traffic. Actually, for me right now, going to Dubai is always stressful because Abu Dhabi is much more chilled. It's
Look at you taking sides already.
I'm not taking sides. It's the
No,
reality.
I'm just kidding.
Dubai is like exciting for younger generation. For a generation who wants to go out, who wants to party. This is really good for them. For me, I want to do business. I want to do sports and spend time with my children. That's it. I don't want to do anything else. So,
And make games.
well, do business is
Yeah.
for me. It's making games. Yeah.
So you find out that about this location through your investor.
Yeah.
And you fly in, you go to the one of the best hotels in the city. You stay here, like, oh, this is not too shabby. Quite hot, but not that bad.
Yeah.
What are the sort of challenges that you faced afterwards as yourself personally relocating? Because it doesn't matter where you relocate. Relocation,
It's hard.
especially with a family, is always difficult.
It is.
And so what are the challenges that you faced yourself and you faced with your team?
Yeah. Memory erodes all the bad moments and you remember all the good ones much better. So I'm a little bit biased, I must say. I would say that for me personally, we've just moved from London to New Forest, so we were kind of like sitting on our suitcases anyway. So it was a little easier to do that. Well, of course, I had to sell all my car, etc. All the logistics, thanks to my wife, she took care of it all, so I could concentrate on the business side. I think for me, it was a breeze because I've managed to establish my company, get my golden visa, everything within a month.
Oh, wow.
And I think, like hearing from others, it was extremely fast. And it was because I was super interested and I was actually the founder moving. A lot of the companies who want to move here, they don't send founders or founders don't move. They just want to establish an office here. And I think that's like a critical difference between myself and maybe some of the other journeys is if you're not here, it can be hard because the local culture is that you need to show up face to face and show the human side of you, establish a relationship, and then things move very fast. Of course, email is good. It allows you to follow up. It allows you to, but this is not how business is done here. And it has to be respected. And for me, that was the critical difference. In terms of employees, I'd say that people who didn't have families or who were younger, they struggled a little bit moving here. For me, like it's a very convenient place. My son goes to school, which is like 5 minutes away from my home. The bus takes him. I have a house helper come in and like really take care of all the domestic stuff. So me and my wife don't argue over who's cleaning the dishes. For me, it's really nice. I can concentrate on making games, on the business side, on sports, and that's what I want from life. For younger people who are really looking what they want from life, it can be challenging because you need to go out of your comfort zone to establish a social circle because social circles just don't appear out of nowhere.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's a little bit different here. It's like unless you go out of your comfort zone, it's harder to kind of feel that the city is alive. So for me, I was very lucky to find a local triathlon group with who I train, and they have locals there, they have people who are expat, and we formed a nice community, and that has been like that's when I started feeling happy. People who don't have that, who just sit at home and wait for something to happen, it might not be a good place for them. And I think I've lost some of my guys, like they've moved here, they relocated, and then they relocated to Serbia or whatever because they can hike there are bars, they can go here. Other people here who have families, they're extremely happy. Like they're having a time of their lives because the schools are great, and the life is a lot more organized here, and that's what's great to see. So I would say that for today, Abu Dhabi, you really need to understand who you are and what you want from your life, and then it can be your happy place. If you're in search of yourself and your soul, then it might be difficult to settle here.
So basically, if you have kids and you're in that between 30 to 40 zone where your happiness, according to all the studies, is at its lowest because you're so busy with building a family and then, building your career, especially at the 30 to 40, you're moving to director and up or CEO and whatnot, then this place is ideal because everything is fixed. I'm in that zone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. So
exactly.
Just focus on what
I thought
do.
you were sarcastic when you were talking to me. Like when I was explaining you my lifestyle, I thought you were a little sarcastic. Yeah.
I think people can relate. There are different phases that we have in our life. Like I had my phase before the 30s, moved into the city and so forth with my then girlfriend, now wife, and it's a different phase. And then those who have young kids understand what how different it is and how different you are as a person when you're raising small children, and how important things like safety and help become. Because it's hard to focus
or access to healthcare. Take that for example,
schools, healthcare, of course. I want to hear about the practicalities for sure, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the ecosystem because it's very young here and it takes sometimes decades for ecosystem to really emerge. It's clear that the government is investing into building the ecosystem, like just being in this building alone. And for context, like today when we were walking around here, like weren't the only company that is kind of checking out because Google Move happened. There's a lot of CEOs and C-suiters, and they've been looking at like, should we relocate some of our folks here? So there's a lot of international talent around. UK especially is big now. But like, what are the advantages of being based out of Abu Dhabi as a gaming studio? Like, what do you feel are your advantages?
Yeah, there are quite a few advantages, I'd say. For me, it's access to a diverse pool of talent. My game director is a French guy, ex-Ubisoft, who actually led the local Ubisoft office in their products for 10 years. So would I be able to hire him anywhere else? Probably not, but he's now an integral part of the team. My main marketing guy is from Jordan. He is absolutely insane in the fact that he can do both creatives and managing campaigns at the same time. So one of a kind guy. So I think this place has unlocked some of the talent to me that wasn't possible before for whatever reason.
You can also bring talent quite easily.
Yes.
The visa process is very simple.
Yeah.
I'm assuming like very simple. You can bring a person from China, you can bring a person from India, from Pakistan, from Turkey, from
that, but also like if you think about hiring local people, like when you are in Europe, you are prone to hire European people, right? And I feel like, MENA has a huge talent pool, which is not usually accessed. And I feel that, of course, because the industry is young here, etc., but there are some exceptional people who easily are hungrier than Europeans, who don't want, 4-day weeks, who are ready to fight for results. And for me, that's also a big part. Yes, I can attract people, high living standards, so that's really good. But also I can hire local people, and I think that's also a very important part. Another thing that's good about this place is, again, it's a thriving community. So for me to have a studio here, there are events happening all the time. This place is highly regarded amongst all business community investors alike. So we are in the season now in November / I would say until April, May, where everyone is coming here. So for me, makes things much easier in my life. I have to only go to GDC, and then the rest of the year I just stay here and everyone comes to me. So it's very practical in that sense as well.
But there's not a ton of studios here. There's like a Ubisoft with like something 100 of people in the studio. And other companies have small setups. Like Unity has a small setup. Some other ones have smaller ones, right?
You don't actually see them, but there are bigger studios here. I know there's Social Quantum with like maybe 30 people here.
My
I know
Games.
My games with a small office, so compared to their overall number of employees, you have Montfish, which is the creators of Atomic Heart. I don't know, they maybe have 40, 50 people here.
Oh, AAA.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it AA, AAA? I don't know.
AAA,
Yeah.
AAA, easily AAA. So I'd say they are studios here. I honestly want to see more. Like, I think this place has a lot to offer, and I was really trying to speak to founders yesterday at the movie event to actually tell them this is the place to be, because I feel like it's overlooked sometimes because people just do not know. There hasn't been a ton of PR, but I think it's coming.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's overlooked. I just had no idea.
Yes.
I literally had no idea.
Yeah, you have to search for it now.
Yes.
Kind of. Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by AppsFlyer. In today's digital world, understanding your app's journey from discovery to download is more than just insightful, it's essential. Enter AppsFlyer, the leader in mobile attribution and marketing analytics that allows you to measure the full potential of your marketing efforts, making every ad dollar work smarter. With AppsFlyer, that's your new reality. Dive deep into data-driven insights that reveal exactly where your users come from and how they'll interact with your app. AppsFlyer, where your app's potential meets performance.
Government is clearly investing into gaming and has a long-term view as a part of diversification of economy. What are sort of a support that you get from the local government here as a founder? Let's say I'm coming in, I'm bringing this massive media company for gaming. Just joking.
CNN of gaming.
CNN and Fox combined of gaming.
Oh, wow.
So no, or the Barstool Sports of gaming. Anyway, coming in, like what are the type of things that you would be expecting as somebody who's starting a studio, for example?
I think it depends on the studio. I do believe that different studios get different things. We got a subsidy for our employees to be here. So for every head count, we have a subsidy, a percentage that we get as cash back.
From the salaries. So you give us, let's say a person's salary is 10K, and every quarter you get X amount of percentage back on your account.
Yeah. Initially we got offices as well to kind of help sell things.
Here in Yas,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. In this building. We got support with software. Unity licenses were a part of it, and an important part because we are a Unity developer. I know that, for example, Unreal developers, they have local representatives here as well. I think NVIDIA has representatives. So that's kind of the basics that you get, but it's already quite a lot if you think about it.
Okay, so you decrease the biggest cost that is in development by having cashback.
People shouldn't be very opportunistic about it because the living standard here is higher. So you do need to adjust your salary, like the salary of your employees to be here, for sure. But overall, I think it makes business sense to be here. For me, again, like I'm able to hire people who I wouldn't necessarily be able to hire in some European country because the taxes are phenomenally high. Like if I look into the UK, if you're hiring like a senior leader, you'd be paying 40-50% on top.
Well, let's talk about, like, again, from the business perspective. So there's a lot that goes into a salary because on multiple sides, like what an employer pays is very different than the employee sees. And then there's how much employee takes home of their gross salary. So there's like 3 different numbers, but we only talk about the middle number, which nobody's actually seeing. So let's talk about as an employee, like what are the side costs? Like, is there a side cost?
No. That's the thing.
So there's no
income tax. I mean, there are like
as an employer, so not employee.
Okay,
employee.
So I would say the biggest one is insurance, because every person in the UAE has to have private insurance, and that is probably a bigger cost, but it's comparable to a European private insurances.
How much is it? I have no idea what a European private insurance cost is.
I don't know. Maybe like 3K per year, something like that.
3K per year?
Yeah.
I have people in US who are like, God damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like paying that in a month.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what insurance you take, but you know, like I'm just averaging it.
Private.
Yeah.
3K. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And that's basically your side costs.
That's basically
Plus you give like allowances to this, allowances to that. But
yeah, like it depends on the company then, like sometimes some companies can give allowances for education, for
yeah, of
sports,
course.
the usual stuff. For my company at least, we just pay salary. We have this private insurance, and that's pretty much it. Obviously you get, well, we pay for the office, but that's, in comparison to everything else, it's minor.
Yeah. Okay. Then just for the context, if a person listening to this hasn't been on the P&L side, sometimes like the higher the salary in many European countries, the higher the side costs. And we're talking about plus 50%, sometimes even
Double.
over on top of it that you pay. And that is, of course, seen in your burn. If your game is making, hundreds of millions, doesn't matter. But if it's anywhere less, like you end up paying quite a lot for talent, but that money doesn't go to the talent. It evaporates somewhere in the middle in all the other costs.
I mean, it does actually matter, like I've been talking to bigger studios who had to relocate and they chose other locations, like Lithuania, for example. The tax, like the margins just went down for companies that have done that. We actually, before opening the UAE office, I was considering Portugal as a place. I've opened an entity there, and I was shocked how bad it is. Like, I was literally shocked in the sense that it takes ages to do anything.
Yeah.
It's extremely bureaucratic and slow. So I guess I had to be there as well, and I did. I went there a few times just to help move things, but it wasn't really helping. And the taxes that you pay are, again, like it's double. Basically, a person sees, let's say, 1,000 euros and actually pay 2,000 euros. Does he see any benefits of that? I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
Yeah, it's the taxation. So hopefully the country sees the benefits of that, but not maybe the employee. Well, let's talk about from the employee side.
Yeah.
Like, of course, number one point is like, what's the tax here?
Yeah, 0%.
0%.
Yeah, there's 5% VAT. Which is like when you go and buy a bicycle, whatever.
Yeah, VAT,
Yeah.
We all know. So VAT is put on everything, so that's how they go. So as an individual, your tax percentage is 0.
Yep.
So if you pay me salary, say your salary is 10,000.
It's 10,000.
It's going to be 10,000.
Yeah.
It's like net and gross is the same thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a very easy calculation.
Very easy.
I could do that.
I think any person
That's
can
an easy
understand
calculation. Interesting. What's the cost of living here?
Yeah, I'd say that cost of living is on par to European capital cities. Similar or just maybe a little higher. But again, for me, you get more out of your money here because, again, there's more space, like the apartments are bigger. You get more infrastructure for what you pay for. So I'd say it's on par with London, with Paris, but you just get more out of your money.
I'll give a story. So we were at the... I forgot the name of the mall.
The Yas Mall?
No. Gallery.
Galleria. Yeah.
So me and my wife, this was we were in Abu Dhabi for Christmas vacations. Anyways, so we're here and we were at a store and we're just talking in Finnish, which is a secret language. Nobody speaks Finnish. And then the lady who worked at the store, she was like, "Oh my God, you speak Finnish!" Like came to us speaking Finnish. I'm like, "What?" Like, because we normally can say whatever, like nobody would understand.
Oh my God.
And she's like, "Yeah, I actually just moved here from London. I've been living in London for 10 years, and now I moved here." And we're like, okay, so, and I'm like, I'm curious. I asked, I'm like, so tell me, like, how is it? She's like, okay, I've been here for 2 months, and she moved with her family, so she has one kid, and a husband. And I was like, oh, how does it compare to London? She's like, okay, so, like, the salary-wise is pretty much the same, but I don't pay taxes, so I get home more. The best thing that she mentioned was exactly the schools that's with everybody. So she pays less for a school here than she would have paid in London. And the school
especially today, now they charge VAT on private schools.
And the school is taught by English teachers, so it's kind of like the same. Like it's an English school, but with London, anyways. Then she was saying that her commute in London was quite long. With the tube and whatnot. And now she says, like, I live actually in the skyscraper right next to this mall. So for me, it's like it cut quite significantly. And then she was like, yeah, I mean, like, I take home more. So it's a good phase for her life at this moment. And she was like, I'm going to be here for a couple of years. And I mentioned it to a couple of locals. And they're like, everybody says they're going to be a couple of years. And they end up staying for like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Attention app and game developers. Are you ready to unlock the secrets behind the world's top performing apps and games? With Sensor Tower, you get the ultimate competitive edge, whether it's breaking into new markets, fine-tuning your UA strategies, or boosting monetization. Dive into data like never before, track global trends across app stores, analyze market-leading in-app purchase and in-app ad strategies, and benchmark your performance with real-time insight. The best part, Sensor Tower doesn't just deliver data, it helps you turn it into action. With intuitive tools and expert analysis, it's everything you need to make smarter, faster decisions. Thousands of app and game studios, from indie creators to global giants, trust Sensor Tower to help them win. So why not you? Start your free trial today at sensortower.com. That is sensortower.com.
That's what happens. Like, I live in a community, like in this apartment block, and whoever you talk to, a lot of them are pilots. FYI, because we live close to the airport, and they've been thinking of moving, but 15, 20 years on, they have like 3 properties already in Abu Dhabi. No one is moving. No one is moving.
Who is this not for?
I honestly don't know. Like, I don't have an answer to that.
You just said it. Like, it's not for people who are perhaps young or don't have families.
Well,
Is
I
that
don't
the
want to
same way?
discourage them from exploring this place, because they can maybe find something for themselves. Like, for me, it's a place where I discovered triathlon. I don't know whether I would have discovered it elsewhere, because in London, try to cycle in London, you're a dead man. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll take your word for it.
You're a dead man.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
literally, it's so
People
dangerous.
in UK are like, this guy hates UK.
No, I love the UK. It's given me so
You
much.
have a UK passport, right?
Yes, I am a citizen. But there are certain things that are really good and certain things that are a challenge. Like, again, like for me here, they have a closed loop for cycling where there are no cars. And the loop is like, one of them is 10 kilometers, the other one is 30 kilometers. So I can just go and train outside for like as long as I can.
Yeah. So
Brutal.
let's say you're one of the normal people and you're not doing triathlons.
Oh, okay. I don't know any of them.
But I got it. So you got your social circle through triathlon, and through that you met a lot of people who are not particularly in gaming. You met like local police officers.
Yeah.
You met engineers, like just people from all
around.
cross path. But what combines you is the triathlon, and that created your social circle. There's like people who like to torture themselves for tens of hours a week with endless cardio. Is that the best way to get connected? Like
sport is a big way. I would say that in UAE in general is all about sports. Like there's a lot going on in terms of promoting the sport and being healthy. Our operations lead, she's a British lady, and she's found her social circle through the sport as well. She does more like high rock stuff and CrossFit,
Nice.
but here you go, hit home with Mishka.
Let's say I'm not into sports. Let's say, I'm like, sports is like mandatory evil 3 times a week. What else? Like, what am I doing here?
Okay, man.
You're like, I don't know what people do.
I have
you do like
zero
20
idea.
hours a week, so you can't even fathom the idea that
I don't know.
Like it.
Well,
let's have empathy.
Okay, so you can play so if I think of Finland, right? Think of Finland. I think it's pretty much the same as here. I'm good. Yeah. In what way?
Rough weather.
Half of the year it's rough. Yeah, half of the year you cannot go outside.
It's rough.
Yeah, half of the year it's rough weather. So what do? You stay home and you play games. Like for me, like coming from Russia, where I've spent my first 10 years of life living in Russia, those winter nights they're endless, and this time of the year it lasts forever. So you end up playing a lot of games. And I think, people in here, they're huge gamers as well. There's a big gaming community. There's a lot happening in that space as well. So you can do that. Plus, there's a lot to do in the sense that the local government really tries to build places where people can go and meet and have fun. Like on this Yas Island in particular, like where we sit, they have 4 theme parks.
B-World, WB, Ferrari.
And the Water World, which is like Aqua Park. So basically, there are places like that. There are tons of businesses popping up in like escape rooms, you know, laser tag. They have huge malls where pretty much everything is there.
Yeah.
You know, like from amazing cafes and restaurants. Food here is amazing, by the way. All the cuisines from all over the world is here, from China to Japan, whatever you want. So I think there's a ton of stuff you can do outside. It's just, yeah, I don't do much.
How
Well,
about culture? Is there on like cultural things like theaters, you know,
we sit
music?
we sit opposite Etihad Arena, which is like a landmark place in Abu Dhabi, where a lot of theater and music bands come to, and comedians. You know, I've been to countless concerts, from Imagine Dragons to seeing some of the, you know, Western comedians come here. I even saw like Cirque du Soleil like a few months back.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do come here from the international stage. I do believe that they're building like a dome like in Las Vegas
Oh, wow.
here. Yeah,
It's
so
highly unprofitable, but
I think it will be profitable
I
here.
don't know. In Vegas, it's like 1 billion in losses already.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's
Wow.
a different story.
Yeah.
The good, like you mentioned, that there's a lot of expats.
Yeah.
And that allows you to create your social circle probably easier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think having like a social circle that only expat wouldn't be nice, because I like to go into the local culture as well. I like to explore it and be part of it as well, to understand what this country is truly about. And that's why for me, like having friends who are Emirati is really important. And you know, to just know the country better. I feel like if you just friends with expats, you're living in this bubble in Disneyland for adults, as I like to sometimes call Abu Dhabi,
Yeah.
because it's amazing, it's comfortable. But I also think it's important to speak to the local community, understand what they like, what they don't like, where they want to see their country going, to be in line and to be, you know, understanding of the local culture. And in fact, they're so generous, humble, welcoming. It's actually an amazing experience to be friends with them. You know, like one of the best peoples in the world in terms of like acceptance. And yeah.
And then you've been learning local language? I mean, Arabic.
I've started learning it. I must say I've been a bad student.
Okay.
So
Triathlon takes most of your time.
yeah, when you know, as an adult, you have your thing, you know, outside of work, like
20 hours of sports. I've seen your Instagram. You do insane amount of time.
that was a few weeks before my first full Ironman. I usually do maybe 14, 13 hours. Yeah.
Trying to work 14, 15 hours. Anyways,
Yeah, so I don't have much time apart from sports and
recovery.
business. Yeah, yeah, you know, actually, I wear this Oura ring, and my office time, it always shows that I'm recovering and resting.
Yeah. At work.
Yeah, my most stressful time is when I'm with my family. It's just statistics, guys, nothing personal.
Yeah. Step into the future of game monetization with Xsola. Xsola empowers developers and publishers to market, sell, connect, and optimize their games globally. From payment solution to a full suite of tools designed to grow your game's revenue while fostering a loyal player base. Xsola is your game's gateway to worldwide success. With Xsola, the world is your playground. Visit xsola.com today and find all the solutions that will help you to power your games into success everywhere. Okay, so let's just take it home with what it is like here. If you can talk about like how do you envision this future? Because part of the reasons why you chose Abu Dhabi over Lisbon and other different locations like Belgrade and other ones is that you want to be a part of building an ecosystem.
Yeah.
So how do you envision like the next 5 years? Like we're here, the studio is new. Like this must be like 2-3 year old.
Yeah,
Year old
it is literally
max.
2-year-old. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's really beautiful. There's a lot of space here, so it's clearly hungry to bring in more companies. But how do you see this growing? Like, how are you steering this?
We all know what the game industry has been going through after COVID. I think like studios have struggled, and in my opinion, like I've seen a lot of studios go in this time. Thankfully, we're not one of them, and not planning to be. One of the reasons because we are here, we are being supported in what we're doing. And I feel like in the next 5 years to 10 years, I would even look beyond even 10 years, This place will have some major players from the West come in and establish their presence.
From the East?
From the East as well. I know some big partnerships happening. I cannot name them, obviously, but they are big players coming in, seeing this region as of strategic importance for whatever reason. Maybe they want to access the India market. Maybe they want to access the MENA market. Maybe it's both. Maybe they want another distribution hub or a PR hub, marketing hub. For whatever reason, I think, the 80 Gaming in particular and what they're trying to do, I think they will be successful in bringing these bigger players. As a side effect, you will have younger studios pop up because people, like my product director, he actually spun out of Ubisoft to found his own studio. Unfortunately, he did that right at the time when no one was investing in new gaming studios, kind of.
Yeah, hard to run a company without money.
Yeah, how to run a company without money. And again, like back in the day, like this was 2.5, 3 years ago, there weren't that many local VCs who were investing in gaming. For people here, gaming was enigma, something totally new. And I feel like right now, a lot more local VCs are looking into gaming. There hasn't been any major announcement, but I feel like with this like combination of factors, when bigger businesses come in, people mingle, they think of an idea of a cool new game, there'll be a VC waiting for them, essentially. And the other phase is a growth phase. I don't know how it will be addressed yet, in the sense like where we are, for example, like we have a product, it's revenue generating, we are hungry for growth. I think there's still a gap in the market for that in particular. But I do believe that 80 Gaming has some ideas of what to do. And I can just, from the global practices, I can think of Turkey as a really great hub for the growth stage because they literally get UA credits kind of thing,
Among other things?
Among other things, yeah. So I feel like UAE and 80 Gaming is taking the best practices, and I do believe that there will be multiple programs run between different entities, but overall it will be creating this ecosystem. And what's most important is I feel like the people who are running it are interested in its success. There's Malself, there's Audiomov, there's YallaPlay, there are multiple founders who are here who have placed a bet on the UAE, and we want success to happen. I want to be surrounded by extremely cool, intelligent, motivated people, because I know like we'll be doing business together one day, and that's super important for me. Yeah.
I want to finish up on this. What's your advice for somebody who's listening and be like, okay, I'm interested, I could check it out. We could see ourselves opening up a location or moving HQ, especially with the UK. There's a lot of tax changes that have been happening that are not favorable. So a lot of UK companies, even now, like as we're going through or checking out the spaces, what's your advice for them? You've done this.
Yep. Well, there's 80 Gaming, and in particular Sultan, who is responsible for bringing in new studios. So definitely reach out to him. He's on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me. I can share more experiences, especially with fellow founders. I've done that many times, actually. I've spoken to, I remember I was chatting to 80 Gaming, and they've asked me, so how many studios have I introduced them to? I think the number was 20.
Oh,
something like that.
Look at you. Are you getting like a kickback of that?
Again like
oh wait, I need to
man,
negotiate.
Remember what I said. I'm interested in the success of this place.
I'm just kidding.
I want to build UAE to be number one. Because this is a unique country where the leadership of the country has a vision for 100 years to come. Ask any other country. Do they have a vision? No.
Well, it's also a little bit different in the sense when you are a monarchy, you can actually plan for a long term because you don't have to do through elections the next 2 years. So there was a Ministry of Economy. It was at the event, and he was talking about the targets, and you don't have to worry. It's like, is this guy gonna be here like the next year?
He's been asking me for GDP growth. Man, I feel responsible now.
Yeah, but yes, it's a long term planning. So best way is to ask you.
I'd say that reach out to me. I'm super open to chat.
Okay, and you'll tell everything that you've told me. It's
pretty much. I'll help to get to the right contacts, and I do believe that AD Gaming will become a lot more transparent in its process quite soon. They're just going through some, I would say, strategic initiatives of how they approach their growth, which is very important. You don't want to be ad hoc about a growth that will last for 20 years. You want to invest in the right way. So, but if you want a door in, chat to me.
Well, thank you, Boris. You're a true ambassador for the region. I'm literally here because of you, because you talked to me in Istanbul about this place, and it's been great. I visited first as a holiday, and then met people here, and then came back again, and coming back again next month. So it's it's a very impressive place, and thank you for the introductions.
I have it's again, I'm just a talker. They are the doers, right? So it's the
you're the example. You're not just speaking for it. Like, it's not your job. You're setting up an example, doing things yourself, going through the hoops, and then telling others. So you're kind of, how would I say it? Like a pathfinder?
Pathfinder. Yeah. We can finish on that.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's finish on that. If you're interested in learning more about what it's like to set up your studio, your entity here in Abu Dhabi, reach out to Boris. His link is in the description below. And Boris, a pleasure.
Thank you, Mishka. It's been a pleasure and a dream of mine to be on this podcast.
Wow, you need to set your dreams higher. So, on that note,
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yeah.
You did it. You made it to the end of the episode. As a fan of the show, it would help us out if you'd subscribe and leave us a review on the podcast service of your choice. Those stars and likes, while a small action on your part, mean a lot to us and help to grow the show. More importantly, are you a member of the Deconstructor of Fun Slack group? If you have 5 years or more of games industry experience, go to deconstructorofun.com/Slack and apply to join. Join the games industry best professional community filled with peers always willing to lend a hand, or subscribe to our newsletter to get all the latest insights from the Deconstructor of Fun content creators. Thanks for listening.